Sleepy Hollow, The Walking Dead, MacGyver, The Vampire Diaries, The Jungle Cruise, and even Indiana Jones. Titles of TV shows and movies that should at least spark a reaction or memory from all of us. Today on PopCon, a backstage pass to the rarely discussed part of movie making that helps create these shows that have found their place in pop culture history. Stay tuned. This show was originally going to be a Halloween-themed episode, and as Halloween passed me by, I thought I would theme it to the Day of the Dead. But then time kept rolling by, and I realized the content was bigger than the living dead or the undead. It actually centers around a man you're about to meet. A man and the work he and his kind do to bring our favorite characters and stories to life. My show allows me to highlight talented performers in live entertainment. A lot of performers' jobs and careers have been affected in multiple ways due to the current situation in our world. I want to pay homage to them and shine a spotlight as the spotlight is dimmed on live entertainment everywhere. Today I'd like to introduce you to a very special person, someone who often goes uncredited, but you see him often, who doesn't get the star treatment, but he likes it that way. He works hard bringing life and death to characters we love. I can't wait to introduce you to a professional stuntman who I have had the privilege to work with for a brief time in his journey. So join me today as we go backstage with this professional stuntman who's made a career in the titles of our pop culture consciousness.
All right, let me introduce my guest, a very talented man. This tough guy here is Trent Brya.
Hey, Victor, how you doing?
Not bad at all. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it. How you doing?
Great. All right.
You are a professional stuntman, are you not?
Correct.
Absolutely. How long have you been doing stuntman work?
Let's see. I started in spring of '96, so that would be 24 years. 24 years.
That's a good long time. So '96. Where was that first performance?
My first stunt gig would be in Ypres, Belgium. I was hired by a company in Orlando, Florida, Ben Ross Productions, and he had a show in Belgium and Germany, and the one in Belgium was like a pseudo Indiana Jones show, and asked me if I wanted to do that, and I said yes, and they flew me over there. I lived and worked for a couple years in that show, and it was a great experience.
So that's amazing. I mean, everyone check out YouTube. Do you know the name of the show? Do you remember the name?
It was,
you have to look at your resume because that's okay.
It was called, during my time, it was called The Indiana Show, which was kind of a blatant ripoff of something else. Well, I'd been trying to get into stunts for years. Basically, I wanted to get into stunts ever since I was a kid, just running around the neighborhood and doing crazy stuff, climbing trees, jumping things, whatever. So I joined the broadcast film production, basically studied that at Central Michigan University, but it still didn't have much to do with what I really wanted to get into. So I was trying to use it as an avenue to get into that, and it just wasn't happening. So moved to Orlando, Florida, worked at a couple theme parks down there, the big theme parks there, and was still trying to figure out an angle to get into stunts. I saw a show down there called Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, and was very...
The ripoff, that's the ripoff, right?
That was the actual...
Oh, okay.
It was sanctioned show by the big wigs and everyone that had a finger in it. So I saw that in '89 when they were putting it together. I was working in 1989 at Walt Disney World as a custodial technician, and I was in the theater when they were practicing a lot on the slab. And
you must have been dreaming right there, like that's
basically that's when I go, this is what I want to do.
What did you do to yourself to go, how am I going to get that job? Did you go, as you said, as a kid, you were climbing trees, running around, you kind of wanted to be a stuntman. What were you doing to try to get to that role?
Basically always staying in shape. I was always very athletic, always in shape. I wasn't a gymnast. I wasn't a martial arts person, but I was very coordinated, and I always could see and do things that were kind of just, I want to say, freakish skills, random freakish skills. So I kept trying to better myself to do stuff like that, and it just took a while.
So that's funny you say, like, you didn't have any other aspirations. I was going to ask, like, kids want to be a cop or kids want to do that. From a very young age, you kind of thought about being in film, being in stunts, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it was like a lot of people, The Fall Guy. Saw it on
Oh,
TV.
that show, absolutely, yeah.
And I thought that was the coolest thing because they showed a lot of how the stunts were done. And that's,
right. It was like the first little bit of a backstage look at something, but you could see it every day. Or
instead of just watching movies and seeing these incredible action sequences, that show was basically about the behind the scenes and how they did it, even though they were still crime fighting and stuff like that.
Sure, right. There's the rest of that
secondary thing, whatever. But to me, it was just watching how they did it backstage and how they set it up and all that stuff. That was very intriguing to me, and I think that's what led me to start pursuing that.
Do you see that?
I do.
All right, so
it was me as Indiana Jones.
That looks like Indiana Jones. It looks like the real thing. So again, you got this gig when?
They hired me at Walt Disney World in August of 1998 to be a backup indie or full-time indie. They always had to have
multiple,
a good stock of indies to do all that stuff. Multiple indies.
So I think we're going to start with this great shot I think you have right here. You're doubling, and I want you to explain what kind of doubling this is about.
All right. Ian Somerhalder. That was on Vampire Diaries. I got a call somewhere around season 4 because I was about the same size as him. I had a lot of good skills. I was working full-time doing stunts at that time, and they brought me up from Orlando, Florida to double him, and I got to double him for a lot of episodes for quite a few years beyond that picture right there. Not only did I get to double Ian Somerhalder there, who was a really nice guy, super nice to me, but I got to double some of the other main actors on that show as well.
I'm going to go down and focus on your legs and your crotch right there. But you guys, it's almost like eerily, your figures are pretty identical. How important is that?
We did have a very similar physique in the fact that our upper bodies were about the same. Our lower bodies, his jeans were a little bit tighter. I think that's just because he liked to wear them tight like that, and he wore boots all the time, which I'm always a tennis shoe guy, but of course when I doubled him, I had to wear the boots. And the wardrobe ladies always had to give me a couple size bigger pants because my legs, as skinny as my legs are, they're still a little bit beefier than his.
Got it.
But it definitely helps to be the right size. Usually that's how a lot of stunt people get hired to do double work. They have to be the correct size, correct weight.
Okay.
And rarely do they ever see our faces. So the more times I got to double him, the more I got to see how they actually handle the production. I mean, from what I saw, that it was run very smoothly because by the time I got there in season 4, they already knew what they were doing. They had a system that worked. Of course, they shot it from many angles for many hours, the same thing over and over. So those actors constantly saying their same lines over and over, moving the same way. And by the time, by the time they'd insert me to do a stunt or something, it was like, boom, over. Because a lot of times we get our stunt in one take or just a couple takes, and then they move on because
that surprised me.
The whole show was about the acting. The show was about the story and all that stuff, so they only needed the action just for that much time.
How was the food?
Good. That's the tough part. You don't eat too much, and of course, stunt people always hang out by the crafty table. So
gotta keep those pounds on. Gotta keep the protein, right?
That's right. The energy. We need to get that energy up. Mountain Dew, candy bars, whatever it takes.
Did the actor you doubled in Vampire Diaries do his own stunts at all, or were you like, you know what, he's doing something dangerous, he let you do it?
Again, this is season 4, so by the time season 4 is around, he knew what he would do and wouldn't do, and there's a lot of stuff where he couldn't be close to fire. He couldn't get anything on his face, stuff like that. He couldn't do any wild head takes. So all the violent stuff was definitely me. And then all the stuff where hit the ground, and then they cut, and then they put him in, and then he does the look up and stuff, and then they get all the reaction stuff. So
because according to IMDb, Burn Notice is like your first, right?
Yes.
And that's a show. Was that on USA? Was that a show on?
It was on USA. We shot that down in Miami. I got many calls to work on that, and a lot of times the calls, they cancel. So it took me a year and a half before they finally did bring me down to double someone or do a stunt. We had a lot of people in Orlando that they could draw from as far as the talent pool, and they were constantly bringing people down to Miami. They had a big pool in Miami as well, but a lot of people working up in Orlando at the stunt shows up there, doing their craft every day. So when they were brought down, it was quite simple for us a lot of times because we already knew what we were doing. So,
Do you see that?
I'm about to. Yes. Let me see who's in there.
Stars for you. Mary Beth.
Yeah.
There is such a pool of talent in Orlando, at least there has been for the last 20 plus years. Great stunt shows, great performers. So how did it happen that you got those calls? How did you guys work together as a team of stuntmen and actors and get these gigs?
Well, working at a show like that, like I said, there's a huge talent pool, and a lot of these performers, stunt people, were doing stunts long before they started working at the Indiana Jones show, or during the same amount of time. So, for example, Michelle Waitman, she was Buffy the Vampire Slayer's double.
I remember
during those seasons. So a lot of these people, even Jeff Chase, the big guy there, did some work with The Rock on The Rundown, I think it was. I'm pretty sure Mary Beth did a bunch of stuff as well. We had so many talented stunt performers at Disney that it was just great. And just knowing all these people, sometimes they know what you can do. They work with you on a daily basis. And Dean Grimes, who was working as the double for the guy down on Burn Notice, was the one that was basically calling up to Orlando all the time.
You've got a lot of headshots out there, and Trent, they're gorgeous. Let's see. I'm trying to find the youngest, but I'm not really sure if I can. Maybe
my youngest. Oh, that's not too bad. That was somewhere around 2010, 2009.
Okay.
That was the guy that did my headshots, Michael Karn. I hope I'm not saying his name wrong. Michael Karn. And he's around Orlando. And then I went back to him to do this headshot, and he did another great job. So I was like very happy with his work. And
that is great. And I mean, it obviously shows an age change, but headshots are important because they also can show your range of acting and performance.
Yep. Yeah. So I was very happy. I postponed getting my headshots for years because sometimes you see pictures of yourself, you're just like, no, I don't want that out there, because a lot of times that's how we'll get hired, how we look. But every once in a while you have to wear an outfit that is not very becoming. I was supposed to double a guy quite a few years ago on this Star project. This guy was going to get beat up or whatever, but he was in bed with this woman, and so he wasn't wearing much. So the outfit they gave me was, I think they called it a dance belt, which was it was not much to it.
It's kind of a jock strap, right? I mean,
yes, it was like a reverse jock strap.
Yes, it's a reverse jock strap.
And I had to take a picture of it in my trailer because I was like, and I sent it to my wife going, this is what they want me to wear. And it was the most uncomfortable thing for me since I've never wore anything like that. And she goes, welcome to my world. And I was hired to do that. When it came to it, I didn't have to do that. Okay. The actor did most of it, which was great because it would have been very awkward.
Sure.
But again, a lot of times we're brought in to be there just in case. Like if it got to the point where the actor didn't feel comfortable being thrown around the room or whatever the fight was going to entail, then they'd put me in there.
Have you done a lot of stunts that end up on the cutting room floor?
Yeah, there was a really good one on Vampire Diaries. Again, I was doubling Ian Somerhalder. But it was a really cool stunt where, I don't know if it was season 4, season 5, where they're in a church and everyone gets blown over by this guy's powers or whatever. And at some point, I think maybe it wasn't Ian, or it was 2 characters, they were walking next to a window and they got blown out the window, just violently yanked out the window. So that was me and her. We're on these lines where we practice, and I got a video someplace, but it's so hard to see because it was off the video monitor, and you'll see us standing there and they go 3, 2, 1, action. We take 1 step forward and then boom, we disappear. It was that fast. And I couldn't wait to see it in the episode. Watch the episode, didn't make it. They just went straight from them being in the church to laying on the ground outside.
Well, let's jump to some Dead. Let's see some Dead. Now, this is you.
Oh, yeah. That was season 4 or 5, I forget. I've doubled a couple guys throughout the seasons, season 1, 2, 3, whatever, and I never played a zombie, so they brought me up one time to play a zombie. And the great thing about playing a zombie is they can use you or any person over and over, just put different zombie makeup on.
Sure.
So they basically brought me up to do this zombie, and they put all this prosthetic gear on, and it was awesome. My arm was
So
all
you
good,
had
my
actually
face
done
all
more of
good.
the stunt doubling and the stunt performances. Is this the only time you actually got to play an extra?
Yes.
Hey, that must be your lovely wife. Jana, good you're here. You met your husband here, Trent, while working at Walt Disney World as well. Is that correct?
I did.
So obviously you performed, but very differently. So why did you meet? What was the circumstance?
It was the basement of Phantasmic.
Oh.
For good old track 1, there's a lot of downtime. Like you cast a spell and you're just hanging out in the basement with super handsome stunt guys. A lot of naps happening. A lot of
naps.
Taco
Is
Bell
that what you
run.
call it? Naps. Well, wonderful. You've obviously, I can't believe you guys have moved to Atlanta. That's where the work was, right, Trent?
Yep. Had to move up here in order to keep getting jobs because I was getting less and less jobs.
They were finding people locally.
Yeah, they're finding people locally. So, hey, did you ever see when she played Aura Singh?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
An
you know what? I'm going to edit it. Thank you for that. That's editing in the video. I do have that picture.
It was
Oh my gosh! I'll never forget that audition. They're like, "Here's your costume," and I was like, "Where's the rest of it?" And they're
I
like,
should
"No,
say,
that's
where's
it."
my hair? You're the best looking bald lady, Jana. Thank you. I'm not sure who the dummy is here, but what's going on with that?
So every once in a while, I'm the stunt person. In this particular movie, I was actually an actor that did stunts. So after I get run over by a van, they needed a dummy to lay in the road or whatever. But
Okay.
What show was this?
this was, the working title was Bleed, but it turned out to be Edge of Fear.
I'm a horrible stunt wife, for the record. People always like, "What show's he in?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And the worst part is that we'll be watching a show. What was it? The Haunting of Hill House. I was like, "We should watch that. Everyone's talking about it." And he's like, I was in it." And I was like,
You were?
"Are you sure?"
Yeah.
That was such a great show.
Or Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, that one too.
What?
He's like, "Here I come," and I was like,
This is the my part. She goes, "What? You were in this?" I go, "Yeah, remember when I was gone for like 3 weeks working on something?"
"Here." In my defense, though, they shoot it like far out, and it usually has a different name or a working title.
How
And
can you
then
keep
as long
track?
as the check comes, I
know.
don't really
Like,
care.
For example, Godzilla, we shot, and it took 2 years before it even hit theaters. And by then, people go, "Oh, you're in this?" I go, "I think I was." And
Yeah, see, you can't even remember either, right?
Yeah. I had to go find pictures on my laptop of, some of the stuff I did. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I did all
Well,
this
and like
stuff."
thanks to COVID, like the Jungle Cruise is now not coming out until next summer.
No, that's exciting to know you're in that, and unfortunately, that's taking some serious delays. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a good one.
Now he did a lot of his own stunts, I'm sure. But did you end up getting a lot of action on this for him?
This is John Bernthal, and he was extremely nice for this 3-day shoot. Basically, he did all of his own stunt work. Some people came out and interviewed us during this whole time, and basically we were there to teach them what the fight was. They did almost all of it themselves, almost every bit of it, because the cameras were right up in their face and they needed to be doing the stunts. So we're there basically to guide them. So if a punch isn't selling well, we're going, "Oh, okay, you need to do this a little bit different because it's not reading well for the camera."
Who's this?
Okay, this is an actual actor. This was on the movie Glorias. And when they hired me, they brought me out, and I had shaggier hair and a beard and all that stuff. And the female director looked at me, and she's like, "This is who you're going to have double this guy?" And they go, "Don't worry. Once they get him made up, he's going to look like him." And the director and the assistant director, whatever, came up to me and started telling me what they wanted me to do in the scene. And I'm looking at them going, "Don't you want to talk to the actor about that?" And they go, oh yeah, we got to talk to the actor.
You almost got a pay upgrade there.
Why didn't you pursue a leading man? Because you just love stunts so much, or?
I do. Like I said, I was a big star in Belgium for a while, and I didn't want it.
They're still talking about you.
As far as acting, I enjoy acting, but mostly I'm an overactor. So all the stuff I do is not quality film stuff. It's all comedy type, Trent type
It's
stuff.
probably over dramatic, melodramatic. What?
Yeah.
In real life too, for the record.
Walking Dead and Vampire Diaries. Which did you do more?
Definitely Vampire Diaries.
You're kidding. So you've been up in Atlanta, which is the home of Walking Dead, and I thought you would have much more time on that.
I started doing The Walking Dead in 2010, the very first season. I doubled Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln. Then I doubled Shane. Oh no, then I doubled what's his name? The motorcycle
Daryl?
guy that. Oh, Daryl. Thank you.
Daryl. Because you look just like him.
In some of the pictures I did,
I'm sure
like
you
I said,
did.
they put the
really
wig
do
on and
wonders.
stuff. Yeah, the same body type and stuff for a lot of it. And then when I got to double John Bernthal, and then I doubled some other people, they brought me back Zombie, and then season 8 they brought me back, and I had a beard and scruffy haircut, and I was coming off a bus shooting a gun, about to shoot a gun, and the main actor puts the gun down. No, we got to take him alive, whatever. My family saw me do that, didn't even recognize me.
Wow.
Because I was playing myself, I think. So
they were like, "Who's that?" Shows. Stranger Things is great. I was a huge fan of The Haunting of Hill House. It was fantastic, and
I couldn't watch it. I was too scared.
it was good. It was so actually, I loved the jumps you got. Right,
I don't know.
Vampire Diaries was a fun show. I enjoyed it very much. It had it kind of died off for me a little. It got a little different, and I stopped watching it. But Walking Dead's got 2 spinoffs. So when are you aware of the pop culture that you might be involved in?
Well, and
That's
it was cool too because he had fans write him. Like they would find out who the stunt performers were, and fans would write him being like,
well, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Like when do you feel like, oh, I'm part of something? Is it when someone actually seeks you out and you're like, holy crap? What?
Yeah, it's kind of scary too, because like you said, why haven't you become a big star? Because I don't want to be stalked for one thing, and for
Too late.
people to find my email or whatever, it's kind of freaky. It's like, where'd they come up with this?
Oh, so you don't want me to add that, right, to the description?
Probably not. No.
Okay, got it.
I don't want to be too big of a star.
So let's see, the Vampire Diaries, definitely Walking Dead, but Teen Wolf. So Teen Wolf's interesting. Like I know MTV in the recent years, Scream, Teen Wolf, definitely making their own productions and basing out some really good franchises. What was that like? What was Teen Wolf like? And how much did you work on?
Teen Wolf was very cool to work on. I got to do that little acting role in it. Basically, I was some sort of sheriff, and I can't remember what episode it was. But
well, I know this looks like you're kidnapping a little boy, but
that was one of the main high school kids. I mean, because they're all in high school.
Yes.
And that kid was pretty funny. He was very good. The way he moved and joked and all that stuff. So basically, I was very happy with the way I got to act in that, because suppose I got shot in the leg with an arrow is one of the other scenes that they shot afterwards. And then as I'm limping in this police station, he comes around the corner and we kind of just see each other. And that's when it's on. I grab him and drag him to the other room and then get beat up and killed. But it was very fun to do some acting and to have my face seen. And
he was good. He did a good job.
Yeah.
That was great. That is like full on Trent right there. So that is pretty exciting. And that's probably why he started getting stalked. Because I wanted to ask really, what was a favorite stunt of yours?
Let's see. Is this where I'm flying? Yes.
That's a good one. I'll let you guys finish up. Good to see you.
This was Sleepy Hollow. Another
great Halloween theme right there.
Yeah. So he called me in to do this. I think this was somewhere around when my son was born. He flew me up to do this particular stunt, and you can't see it, but there's a launch pad right underneath me, and it threw me back. We practiced this particular stunt the day before onto some pads, and then on the day I had to crash into an actual car onto the windshield and stuff like that. So,
have you gotten hurt pretty bad?
I've been hurt on a couple stunts before, but a lot of times what you're supposed to do, get up and keep going, because that's what you sign up for. You know, a lot of times the stunt coordinator will go, you're going to have to hit hard on this. So just be ready. And pretty much you're ready, and it happens.
Well, nothing's stopping you. You are over 50 years old and you look great, and you are still doing some very dangerous work, but obviously very fulfilling.
Oh, yeah.
What is most satisfying about it?
Just not knowing sometimes. When I go into a job, I'll tell Jana, I'm going to work on this production. She'll say, oh, yeah, what are you doing? I go, I don't know. Anyway,
so has the pandemic done anything to stop this? Are you on hold with a lot of things? Right?
I was supposed to work in March on a show that my buddy Lawrence Chavez called me to work on, and right before I was to come in and do this one episode, of Prank Encounters, they canceled it because of the COVID. And then they actually ended up reshooting it and bringing us back, I think, in August. And we actually did that original scene that we're going to do. So it was nice to get back to work a little bit.
It was a good time. I want to thank you right now. I'm going to go ahead and wind this up. We didn't even cover your driving skills and your stunt driving, which was a huge part of your life. You've all name dropped some fantastic people. I hear some great names in there, Lauren Chavez, and some of your photos. We didn't talk G.I. Joe Retaliation, which I saw a great picture of Jonathan Pryce. What a great actor from Broadway and film. And I think he was on G.I. Joe. So that's why you have that photo with Jonathan.
Yeah, I have a couple photos with some of the big actors on there. The one I was Ray Park, that was the one I was most proud of. And I actually saw him backstage at Disney MGM Studios one day. I just happened to be walking back there, and he was being escorted because he's Darth Maul. Yes. And they were going to bring him on stage. And I go, hey, Ray, how you doing? Because at the end of the movie, we all went out to a bar and we're drinking one night and got a picture with him.
I'm going to show that photo because you guys are in a bar in that picture. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. So I just want to thank you very much for joining us. This has been great. I hope I continue doing this in the future, but hope you had a good time.
I did, man. Thank you so much for including me in this.
Thank you, man. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed meeting Trent. And every time you watch your favorite shows over and over, you'll look for him and people like him who make the excitement a reality. Popular culture is in every nook and cranny, and I promise to bring more phenomenal content and bring wonderful entertainers to the forefront and showcase their legendary talent. Stay tuned for more PopCon content that will interest and entertain. Comment and share to help PopCon's future, and always remember, LSN. Like, subscribe, notify. Until next time.